So, podcasty time again, and we've replaced Jamie with someone better.
Much better looking.
Better fishing, better looking, just better all round. So yeah,
Better accent.
better, much better. I can understand you, and
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been doing a bit of filming for the All Access members channel.
yeah,
Going all like winter maggoty F1y stuff. But whilst we're here, thought may as well get a couple of podcasts done. So I think the first subject we were looking at was sort of along the lines of full-time anglers,
Yeah.
what it actually involves, and can you actually make a living from going fishing? Because I think Andy especially is in a bit of a unique position where he has actually fished full-time, as in just fishing, not sort of as a consultant or a sponsored angler or anything like that. It was literally day in, day out going fishing. So I suppose that's the first thing. Is it actually physically possible to make a regular living from just fishing matches?
what you saying, and
No.
no, the short and it is no. A lot of hard work. You had a real good do at it, don't you? Obviously, you talked about it on the Guru podcast, but we were on about it on the way here, and the things you've got to deduct from it. Obviously, you know, your outgoings like your match fees, your bait fees, your fuel, obviously food. There's not much left at the end of it, mate, is there?
No, like what I said to you on the way down, like when you think about it, let's take a typical week. So like I was sort of forced into the position.
Yeah, man.
Like I had my accident and then I had a bit of money come in from my accident and my dad died. I had a bit of inheritance and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to have another year off just to try and see if I can do, because obviously I couldn't work full time doing manual work like I used to. I used to be a glazer and I couldn't no longer go back to that. So I'm thinking, where do I stand now? What can I do? So I was sort of forced into it and I give it a good go. And that year I kept track of all my winnings.
Yeah.
And that year I won 27 grand total. But I had 5 grand chunk from the Matchman of the Year at the time, which was like the Preston one. Couple of like 400-500 quid days here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a festival for £1,000 or whatever. But it probably cost me like 12-15 grand to go. I didn't take into account my costs, but when you think about it, I probably fished that year. I mean, some weeks in the summer I was fishing 6 matches a week, like Thursday day, Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Just getting as many matches in as I possibly could. So sometimes 6 a week. I probably fished like over 200 matches. I had a mega year in terms of like I'd won the Matchman of the Year, won about I won exactly 59 matches, some seconds.
59 matches, right?
I know.
Okay.
And these are decent matches as well, not like 10 peggers. Like I'm talking 25 peggers where you might get 80 quid. But not like you won't match, you got 40 quid.
Yeah. The thing that you want to get across as well is you've got to win to get the money, haven't you?
So like
any reasonable amount of money, you've got to win these midweekers.
Take like cost of living now and things like that. Let's take a typical week up my way. I've got a match at Partridge on a Tuesday. There's no Monday and Friday matches, unless you travel. And most of them would probably be cost cutters. But around my area, you could fish Partridge on a Tuesday, Blundell's on a Wednesday, Partridge on a Thursday, wherever you want weekend. But let's say Partridge, Saturday, Sunday, decent sized matches. On a weekend, I reckon you'd win 120, 140 quid for winning the match, max. You might only win 100, but let's say 120, so that's 240 quid if you won both matches at a weekend. Midweek, on average, I would say 90 quid, so that's 270 quid. So that's 510 quid that you've won if you win all 5 matches.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you, in 20 years, I've only ever won 4 on the trot twice. We have a board at Partridge, and it was Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and I've only ever done it twice in 20 years. So it's near on impossible.
I think the thing is, obviously, our neck of the woods and like the northwest, the anglers, like the calibre of anglers, and obviously the regulars who go to the same venue, they're just so hard to beat if you get anywhere near them. And that's what I mean. You've got to draw your socks off, but then you've got to win. Pointless getting your sections off like that, you're barely making any money back at all.
No, and even if you win, like say you won all 5 matches, that's 500 quid, say.
Yeah.
You've got to take into account it's 25 quid per match. Mm-hmm. So there's 125 quid gone, 375 quid. Then you've got your bait and your fuel. So let's say fuel for me now is probably 15 quid to get to Partridge. That's 75 quid, so you're down to 300.
Yeah.
Less 10 quid a day, but sometimes you might need 15 quid. So let's say another 50 quid minimum. The most you're coming out with, obviously it's not taxable because you're gambling.
Yeah.
But so it's all profit after that. But basically that's 250 quid a week. It's not even a average wage, do you know what I mean?
Probably not minimum wage, is it?
No, it's not.
No, it's probably not even minimum wage, is it? So yeah, it's not. You can't make a living just fishing. You need something to subsidise it. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think if you did it now, it'd be even harder to try and get them results because
even
everyone
harder,
seems to have, like caught up a bit and
like 10 years.
Obviously back then there was no social media, was there, that people could see the videos and all that. And obviously the standard of angler now, since watching the likes of like your video, it's your fault, your videos. You got too technical, mate. Not like well, I'm going to say mine, not ours, mine. They're watching it and obviously they're getting really, really good at it. And obviously coaching days as well, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so when I did it back then, coaching, you was, I think, Machin just started. You was just left your job literally.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was probably a year or two, and I was like, well, I'm not really good enough to coach. I can't really coach. That weren't really an option.
Yeah.
And that's how my coaching come about. It's like, we give us a coaching day. Oh, go and see Andy May. I don't coach. Back then there were no coaching. Now there's loads of coaching. There's loads of online content like this.
Yeah.
And it's so much, like some of the kids now, they're awesome at like 18, 19. Like really good. You know, like young Charlie Shaw last week
mate.
on that festival. It's bloody hell, like he knows how to catch them. Whereas 10 years ago, you didn't have that. So when I had like maggots down the middle and fishing light rigs, it was like,
get it to yourself.
Nobody, if they didn't come and ask you,
we always used to go on about the Oost line, catch on Oost line late on, remember that?
Line late on.
Late on, mate.
And people didn't know about it, so like it weren't as easy. It's sort of like if you had an edge, you could keep it to yourself. Whereas now, obviously, we put it out there, and loads of other people do as well, and it's just so much harder. The standard of angling in general has just gone up another level.
Yeah.
So you can't dominate like you used to, and that's another thing. Like everything costs more. I just don't ever see how you can make a living. Well, you can't physically make a living from just fishing matches alone and being a full-time angler.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to have some backing behind you, haven't you? These days,
need some
obviously.
form of sponsorship, or you need, some form of backing, or you need something like the coaching that I do and we've done in the past. Something to subsidise that wage. Definitely. Because you might be in profit from your fishing, but you're not going to ever earn enough to just do it.
So let's come on to next then. Obviously, youngsters coming into the sport, and we're saying there's a lot of good young anglers out there. And the question that we've gone down it a few times, haven't we? How do we get sponsored? That's all they want. But first and foremost, Andy, it's going out enjoying your fishing, isn't it? Letting your results do the talking, and then it's going to happen from there. Yeah,
you've got to have something about you in terms of your angling ability. So the first thing is learn your trade. 100%. Make sure you're good at fishing. Try and be as nice and as approachable as possible.
That's what Jay always says, isn't it? Just be nice. Don't be isn't it?
But you
Why does he say that?
He does.
You've got to be, nowadays in particular, like, why is a company going to sponsor you? You could win 100 matches on the trot, but if nobody knows who you are, you're not really an asset to the company. So nowadays, social media is massive. Instagram, Facebook, not so much Twitter, but Instagram, Facebook, like that's massive. You need to have a selling point to the company where he goes, actually, he's good value. If he, at the end of the day, they're trying to push products. They want the best anglers using them. So if you're not a brilliant angler and you haven't learnt your trade, you could be brilliant on social media, but you're probably still not going to get a sponsorship. And likewise, you could be a brilliant angler, but a horrible person, and again, you're not really sellable, do you know what I mean? I think any kids coming up, I would say, try and create yourself a profile and build your profile up. Don't be embarrassed about doing it, thinking, oh, nobody's going to care what I say. You start off small. We all started off with nothing when we did it.
That's what I mean,
and you just build it up as you go along, and your fishing hopefully gets better as you go along, and then companies will look at you and go, do you know what? He's a lovely lad, he's young, he's talented, he's active on social media, and then all of a sudden, that's probably the best way. Well, that's the only way you're going to get a sponsorship nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
When we was younger, I think it was more, sorry Rich, when we were younger, I think it was more on merit, of your fishing because social media weren't about.
Yeah.
So winning matches could be great, and that would get you a sponsorship or get you recognised. Then you might find out that there are later on. Do you know what I mean? I'll put that in myself.
Come on, the duck noise. I like that, Ant. Do you know what I mean?
He was confused.
You didn't actually say the word. I was going to say it.
But they find out it's too late then,
Yeah,
and then the company ends up getting rid of them.
Yeah.
But nowadays, they probably have an idea of what type of person you are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to hide these days, is there? You know what I mean?
Where do you stand on sort of, if you're coming into it, are you feeling now that you almost need to take a more specialised route, sort of focusing on like your F1 fishing or your natural venues or whatever route that you end up going down? Is it?
I think you can go down that route because obviously there's so many different avenues. You can do all this, or there's all like feeder style. You can do like your canals and your rivers. But for me, I think you just want to do everything. You know what I mean?
A bit of everything. And when you say everything though, like you've got to hone your skills. You need to be able to fish a waggler, a feeder, pole.
But I suppose just sticking to commercials, so you can do like Silver's commercial this time of year. Then go into the summer, you can do like your carp and your F1s in the summer, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think like
naturals.
Commercial and feeder fishing is the biggest. I would say river and canal doesn't have the same following. So you could be the best canal angler in the country, but you probably like there ain't that many products. The main market is focused on commercial fishing, feeder fishing.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of, I'm not saying pick whatever you enjoy doing, but I think commercial fishing is definitely the biggest market. But I don't think you can spread yourself too wide. If you go and do a commercial on a Saturday and a river on a Sunday, I just can't see how you ever master that trade. Do you know what I mean? You could be jack of all trades, but master of none. Whereas it's better to be, because fishing's quite simple. Like, you know, talking about commercial silver fishing, it's not that much different from F1 fishing. It's just lighter rigs, feeding's pretty similar. The same principles apply.
Yeah.
But then when you're going on a river and it's running line,
Yeah.
you need a whole new set of kit. There's no rivers up my way to actually do that anyway. So if you live down near the River Wye and the River Severn, in that area of the country, great. But we've literally got the River Weaver up near us and that's it.
Yeah.
There ain't no other rivers to get a match on, is there, really?
No.
And canal-wise, around our way, there's a few matches on, say, Wigan and places like that, Leeds, Liverpool, but there ain't, where I actually live, there's no canal matches within 30 mile. So you might as well go through a commercial. It depends where
you've got lots of sticklebacks and goujons in them.
Depends where you're brought up, doesn't it? As to what sort of path you're going to go down. But I think, like, you know, commercials is probably the way forward in the future.
As you said, most of it, and these days, it's very rare a waggler will come into it, is it? It's like feeder, as you say, method feeder, and then all aspects of the pole fishing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, because the venues are not built for waggler.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, that's it.
You wouldn't ever use a waggler rod here. Maybe one peg on the whole complex. That's it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
definitely.
If you grew up this area and this is your local, you're never going to get to hone that skill, but you need to go out and practice it so that, you know, you're good all round. You're good at every method, but you're still focusing on one sort of style. And
yeah, man. I like that. I like that. So the moral of the story is no, you can't make a living from fishing. Don't be a duck noise.
I suppose going down the other route as well.
Go ahead.
So obviously you don't make your living from just fishing now. What, like, does the average week, average month sort of, how's your time split between sort of filming, other bits and pieces? How much fishing do you actually end up doing as well as a professional
less,
angler, are we?
Okay then, you lovely lot. So we've got brand new merch in stock for you all. We've got new caps, new hoodies and new t-shirt. Check out the website, it's www.winningways.shop.
A lot less, I would say. I mean, I do still fish quite a lot for, like, obviously I do consultancy for Guru and Blake's, and then I do a little bit for Match Focus or yourselves. It's like, so I spend a lot more time filming nowadays, but I still try to get out 3 times a week if I can.
Still like your matches, don't you?
Yeah, I still love my match fishing. So like 3 times a week, in the summer might be 4 times a week if I get chance, but mostly I'd say 2 to 3 times a week on average, whereas a few years ago when I didn't have as many commitments, I had more time to fish 4 times nearly every single week.
And obviously you're coaching as well.
Yeah, but then it becomes a point where it's like you want to earn more money. You can go and fish a match, or you could go do a day's filming, or I've got to do some work for Guru. Your priorities change when you become like a consultant. So for me, if Guru rang up tomorrow and said, "Oh, we need to go out and do some filming," I'm going there instead of I'm booking off the match and going filming.
Yeah.
Like that's my job now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Fishing is just my hobby.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm saying whatever the CEO tells me to do, and I'm there, you know what I mean?
You coach a lot though, don't you?
I do coach a lot. I was saying to Andy before, it's not that I don't enjoy it. I don't know, it's just, I think because we're busy and we're tied up doing other things, it's just sort of like, it will take a back seat. So next year I'm going, not doing as many, the year after, not as many, and then it'll just go, I think.
You don't get the time, do you? That's the problem I'm at now, is like, I've turned loads of people away this year coaching, but it's like, last year I did 27 days on the trot. So people say like, I remember one guy saying to me, "Oh, I thought you had no days off, you went fishing Thursday." Because Thursday is my day off. And I choose to go fishing. So that's my day off, but I'm going fishing on that Thursday. Saturday, Sunday I might be on qualifiers, so I've paid for them at the start of the year, I'm committed to them, I'm doing them. Monday I might be coaching, Tuesday I might be filming, Wednesday coaching, Thursday, and it's like, you look at your calendar and you think, God, I've not got a day off in May. And then the missus says, "Can we go on holiday?" It's like, no, because I've booked on. So then all of a sudden you ain't got time to do it. And then it's just like any job then, do you know what I mean? It's like, I've got another 15 days of this before I get a break. And then your break might be one day, and then you're fishing again. And then you start to lose the love of it. So you've got to keep a balance between work, hobby. Do you know what I mean, Matt? Like I have pool, which is separate to me fishing. So pool is like not my main hobby. Fish is still my main hobby, but pool is my hobby at the minute. Fishing is like my work. But when I go and fish on my own, it's different. Like I still love it. But if I did too much of it, I could easily fall out of love with it, and I don't want to do that. So you've got to find a balance of like, I ain't got enough days, I need a break. Do you know what I mean? If you said to somebody, right, you're working for 4 months solid, they'd be like, well, don't get weekends off. It's like, no, you're working every weekend for 4 months. Like, you need a break, otherwise you just burn yourself out. You don't fish as well because you're not having a break from it, you're not rekindling that love for it. So yeah, it's a fine line between too much, 100%.
That makes sense, that.
Yeah, you see it a lot on especially on the carp side of things as well, where you do get people who like literally will go on the dole, pretty much fish for a year or two full time. The amount of people that you see never end up going fishing again after that just because they've literally
burnt themselves out,
gone full on, obsessed
fish
with it, but then you're just like, too much of, I think.
Too much of anything is not good, is it?
Yeah, especially what you're saying, having something that you can focus on away from fishing, be it pool, your lad with football, drinking, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and where were you going earlier? You were saying about like the future of fishing.
Yeah, so like obviously.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So the next 10 years, where you seeing it and match fishing?
As the way it goes now, I think if everything keeps going up, you know, like.
What, you mean the price of everything?
Price of everything keeps going up, cost of living, fuel, all the rest of it. The only way to, because people ain't going to want to pay 100 quid to win 60.
No.
So it becomes a point where the entry fee has to go up so that, you know, you're getting, say, 3 or 4 to 1 odds on your money. You know, if you pay 50 quid, you expect to win 150, 200 quid back. And an average day for me to go fishing now is probably like 50 odd quid. Just to go and fish a normal open with fuel,
so
bait.
That's like fuel, bait. And
25 quid entry, 15 quid on fuel, tenner on bait, that's minimum. If I want a butty, if I want, do you know what I mean, a drink, you're talking 50 odd quid, and that's just local. If I go and fish a qualifier, you're talking 100 quid.
Yeah, man.
Because you're paying 50
Plus
quid and then everything.
Different amounts of bait and all that, yeah.
So I think like the only way you can grow anything is by bringing in outside sponsors. So obviously things like this hot fishing that I've been speaking to that John Wilkes about, where you have a recognised table, because it's the same in every sport. Pool's the same. You have like a top few. Pool's very similar to fishing, to be fair. There's not a lot that make a living from it, but there's a select few. but they have to do different disciplines, like they'll have to play 8 ball, 9 ball. Golf's similar, unless you're in like the top whatever. Golf's got quite a lot of money in it, to be fair, but snooker darts, you know, if you're not in the top 32, you're not making a great living from it. So the only way they can make it bigger is bigger payouts, but because it's not self-funded, you need outside sponsorship. So we need I think we need some sort of system where you're fishing against the same sort of level of people. If you want to be in that top tier, Division 1, Champions League, whatever it may be, you fish for the big money.
Yeah.
But likewise, if you're only Division 2, so like we have club, open, and then paid events, if you like.
Yeah.
If you're doing really well in the club matches, really, you should be able to go up a level. And if you're not doing so well, drop down a level maybe. But if you had a system where it was ranked, like a tier system, I think it'd... Because if I said to you who's the best angler in the country, you wouldn't know, because there's no sort of league or anything, do you know what I mean? Whereas if you had some form of league, then people would be like, yeah, I'll put some money into that, we'll sponsor it. And then you could almost create like a tour where anglers can make a living out of fishing, and then we can attract more outside sponsorship, and we can have more televised events, and we can grow the sport in general. Otherwise it might just dwindle away to nothing.
On it, innit? You're going to be the next like Barry Earney, the angling world.
Look what he did for darts. Barry did
amazing.
mega for darts. Darts was just a pub sport, and he's like took it to the next level. And they're doing that in pool at the minute. Ultimate Pool have taken it to the next level at pool, and now they can win 10 grand every month.
Emily Fraser's do? Is that pool?
No, that's 9 ball, but she's doing the same. Okay. Emily's doing the same in 9 ball, like brilliant. Making it so that there's a tour, and they play events, and it's getting better and better all the time. And fishing, obviously, it's hard. I don't know how they do it, but like this hot fishing app, they sign up to it here at Tunnel. They put all their results on it. Probably more so than anybody, but we sort of like need to go with the technology to try and push it forward, I think. Otherwise I think we'll just dwindle away because it'll get too costly.
Too many people, like little matches at the same venue kind of thing, I think, wouldn't it?
You need outside sponsorship.
Yeah.
You need somebody to go, oh, I want to put my name to that, do you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to see Andy Maid, Jamie Hughes, all them anglers fishing.
Yeah.
But you have to have like, people want to see the best in that. They want to see the best in that division. They want to see the best in that. And you can move up and down divisions. I don't know if you'd be able to do it like that, but we need something. Otherwise, 10 years from now, I think it'll just dwindle away and there'll be nothing.
Not much left. Just
it'll cost too much.
Kind of thing.
Where do you stand on? Obviously, you mentioned about the televised side of things, and a lot of people sort of mention that the format of fishing might need changing to make it more kind of friendly to TV. Do you see that working as a, like, whether it be shorter matches or like 2020 sort of format on the cricket, or adding random things in to make it a bit more exciting?
I think shorter matches would be the way, because what it'd do as well, it'd make the weights tighter and closer.
Yeah. And
you don't have to sit there for 5 hours. You know, if it was
like
like
Champ style, it used to be 3 hour matches or something.
3
like
hours
that.
is probably about right. Enough time to settle in. You know, and I know it's not ideal because you would like the 5 hours to get the most out of your peg, but generally when you get to that sort of level...
Everyone's in the same boat, aren't they? So
yeah, I think when you get to that top level, the pegs will look after themselves a lot of the time. So the longer it goes on for, the more chance that peg's got of winning. Whereas if you have a shorter format and you make a mistake first hour, you've lost 30% of your match.
Yeah.
So,
why are you looking at me when you say that?
Odd, you know.
I think
you.
It might have been something you said the other way around on festivals, because it's spread out over a number of days. It's almost easier to win a festival as a better angler than it is to win a sort of one-off match.
Yeah, somebody could win one day and be really good, but consistency is rewarded by longer periods, isn't it? The more something goes on for, the more your consistency is rewarded. So I think like what John was trying to do at hot fishing is like the old Camazon format.
Yeah.
And you've got to be on it all the time. You can't really take weeks off, can you?
Can't.
You've got to be on it.
You're missing out on your
You're missing out.
Then.
So like it rewards consistency and the lads who put the time and effort in.
Yeah, they get rewarded.
But obviously you sort of need that tier system as well then, because
People who can't necessarily do it every week.
Yeah, if you've got 2 kids and a family at home, you ain't going to be able to go as much as I can with no kids and nowhere near as much of commitment. But because I want to, say, fish for bigger prizes, so I'd be in, say, the top tier, and then the guy with 2 kids, or the guy who just works too much and he can't get out as much, he might be able to go once a week or whatever, or he might just not be as good a level. Do you know what I mean? So then he ain't going to be intimidated by fishing against them and feel like he's wasting his money. So he can fish against that and he can see his progress and think, do you know what, I've done really well this year. I'm going to pay to go into that team.
More money potentially. Yeah, I like that.
Or likewise, I'm not doing very well in this. I'm going to pay into the lower one.
Yeah.
And if you're in the bottom rankings, you'd be entitled to drop down a division.
Yeah.
And what it'd stop then is like open level anglers nicking all the club money. Do you know what I mean? So that might take a few years to sort of level it out. But then you'd, after say 5 years, you'd be able to work out what tiers in what.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then, because there's no shame, if you don't go as much, there's no shame in not being as good as somebody else.
No. It's life, isn't it?
It's like Div 1 and Div 2 on the Nationals, isn't it? Where,
of course it is. Well, there used to be 6 of them. There used to be 6 divisions.
It's still like, you win Division 2 and get promoted. It's still like a mega result, and as a team you're happy, and then you can try at that next level. Some probably will go like straight down.
Amazing. I remember we started off in Division 6 and got to Division 2 within 4 years. We just kept going up and it was amazing. Brilliant feeling.
But if you'd have stayed in Division 6 and kept winning it year on year and going, no, we don't want to move up, we don't want to move up, then, you know, it'd be a bit like, you can't blame somebody for being good. It's a bit like Barnsley now, they win a lot of the stuff. Oh, it's pointless fishing, Barnsley are fishing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you can't punish somebody for being good, do you know what I mean? Like, they're awesome, let them have the time, and, you know, they might reign for another 10 years where they're really, really good. But that sometimes puts other teams off. Oh, I don't want to get promoted. We've got no chance of winning that. But it's like, you should test yourself. But likewise, you should be fishing at the right level. Do you know what I mean? And then they've got something to fish for. So, for example, it might be £1,000 to the winner of Division 1, £750 to the winner of Division 2. Do you know what I mean? The prize money's got to suit. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll just have the club anglers staying where they are if they're fishing for the same prize pot as the top people. So the more higher up you are, the more you would fish for, etc., etc.
Makes complete sense to me. I think that's the way, potentially it could go.
Tiger's just sold fishing, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah, I mean, I did speak about it on
New CEO.
I'm nothing to do with hot fishing, by the way, but I did speak about it on my Facebook and just see what people think.
Yeah,
and everyone thought it was a good idea, but it's down to the anglers to sign up and then the fisheries to sign up. I just can't see how it progresses any more if we don't do that.
Right, okay.
I think we need outside sponsorship, but at the minute it's not very appealing. Who's going to sponsor an open match at Tunnel Barn or any venue for that matter? Like, there's no, Fish Show attracts decent sponsorship because it's televised, but even the other big competitions, they don't attract outside sponsorship. Do you know what I mean? You could almost then, go to TV or whatever the process is, and say, look, this is what we've got planned. These are the views we're getting for this, and then all of a sudden, once it goes on TV or wherever, do that. I mean, there's loads of things, isn't there? You could have, I don't know, I've not thought about it proper, so I'm not going to just come up with something random, but there's probably loads of ways that we need to start doing something. Otherwise, I think it will dwindle away.
Go on, Andy, I like that. Me and Jake could be like the Ant and Deck of like presenting everything and hosting it all, couldn't we? Jamie will be fishing.
Yeah, Jamie will qualify.
Me and thee.
I'll just film you.
No, don't film me. Film And. No, I like that, And. Nice one, mate. That was good.